We're going to head to Tel Aviv now, where we're joined by correspondent Emily Schrader to provide us on an update as we now hear that there has been another barrage of missiles launched from Iran towards Israel. Emily.
Hi, great to be with you, Sarah, John. So I am here in Tel Aviv, where just a few minutes ago we saw sirens go off again, warning of incoming ballistic missile attacks from the Islamic regime in Iran. Now, this has been the case since about 6 this morning. This most recent attack, you can see people pouring out behind me from the public bomb shelter, which has been open now for several weeks, as we anticipated some activity from the regime in Iran, though certainly not this. Now, since about 6 this morning, we've received almost nonstop sirens, warning of incoming missiles. We haven't seen a lot of hits. This most recent barrage, I'm told just a few moments ago, the rockets were intercepted by Israeli defense systems or the THAAD missiles, the Patriot missile system from the United States. We also saw that there was an incoming drone that went over Jerusalem that was also intercepted. So certainly nothing dull happening here in the state of Israel. But all this is happening while the IDF is carrying out very heavy airstrikes on Islamic Republic targets inside of Iran, particularly Tehran this morning, also Isfahan and other major cities. We've seen them targeting key regime sites such as the Sarala base. Now, this is one of the units that's responsible primarily for the repression of the protesters, more than 30,000 of which were massacred, as we saw by the regime on January 8th, 9th, 10th, around those dates. So we are seeing concrete action both from the United States and from Israel pushing back against this regime, both, of course, on behalf of the American people and their interests, also the security of the state of Israel, but also for the Iranian people who have been calling for regime change. And as we've seen, after Israel took out what they estimate to be 40 commanders of this regime, we've seen massive celebrations across the Iranian diaspora and inside of Iran. Remarkably, we see celebrations across different provinces, cheering and shouting tears of joy over the assassination of the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei.
Now, Emily, you're coming to us from a bomb shelter as I mentioned, another wave of attacks now headed towards Israel from Iran. They say that they are going to hit Israel like never before now, except this does seem to be underwhelming in comparison to what Israel experienced from Iran during the 12-day war. Can you talk to us about that comparison?
Well, I think it's really too early to say what the full impact will be. Let's remember that at least 40 buildings in Tel Aviv alone have been damaged just from the barrages of yesterday. We also know that the Islamic regime is sort of like a wounded animal. When they're backed into a corner, they're going to lash at everyone. And that's exactly what we've seen. They are hurling ballistic missiles at Oman, at Qatar, at Kuwait, at UAE, all of these countries that are not enemies of the Islamic Republic, at least explicitly. And of course, we see a heavy missile fire and attempts to fire missiles at the state of Israel. The only reason that we haven't seen mass casualties in the level that perhaps one might expect from a conflict of this scale is because the Israeli defense is actively working to prevent many of those missiles from even getting off the ground. One of the activities they're carrying out today, as the IDF has stated, is specifically targeting missile launchers. The second they see them come out or they receive intelligence about where those missiles are being fired from, they target those sites. And that's been very effective thus far. Hopefully, for the sake of everyone involved, it remains the same.
Yeah, and Emily, we're waiting for an update here from the U.S. forces as to what actually got hit. How much did they take out? What are you hearing in terms of how effective this operation was, this mission of, and were the intended targets, did we hit everything that we wanted to in this original strike?
So from what we know so far, I'm more attuned to the Israeli estimates based on what the sources here have told us, but the operation has been extremely successful. Only this morning we saw the IDF state that they did take out 40 different commanders of the IRGC and the regime itself. We know that they targeted, obviously, the supreme leader. This is a major, major success, intelligence success on behalf of the state of Israel. But beyond that, we also know that they've targeted many regime bases, IRGC weapons depots, missiles depots that are oftentimes surrounded by civilian areas. And despite that, we've seen a relatively low casualty count overall. Hopefully it remains that way. But for all the evidence that we have thus far, the attacks have been remarkably successful. And I think if you need any more evidence, look no further than the fact that the regime itself has been consistently lying about the impact of the strikes. We saw all day yesterday them denying that anyone had been assassinated, and only this morning they admit, oh, actually the supreme leader was indeed assassinated and taken out. So I do expect we'll see more of that. Almost every minute that goes by, we see another confirmation, or admission, I should say, that Israel or the United States did take out senior figures of the regime, and we expect that to continue.
Absolutely.
All right.
We'll leave it there. Emily, we appreciate you. Your reporting here. We'll check back in with you a little bit later on here.
Thanks, Emily.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.